A bill has been passed.
I intend to support it.
On another government shutdown. Biden holding a critical meeting.
He and I agreed that each one of us could pick up the phone, call directly, and would be heard immediately.
With the president of China. And prices getting lower.
Save you a little bit of money at the grocery store.
For this year's Thanksgiving. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Jillian Savi Cruz.
And I'm Parsa Kesajai. Today is Thursday, November 16, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A stormy start to this Thursday morning, with the ground across South Florida saturated from the night before. All over South Florida, people are dealing with rounds of rain, even leading the Broward School District to cancel classes today.
Caplin News reporter Samantha Gutierrez is near the entrance of FIU Biscayne Bay campus in North Miami with a look at the conditions there.
Yeah, I'm here in North Miami standing where the flooding marks the new end of the sidewalk next to a lake that usually ends many yards down. Power outages were recorded across Miami-Dade and Broward counties this morning after yesterday's severe weather. Florida and Power and Light reports over 62,000 outages. With some cancellation and delays. An advisory is out for coastal winds of up to 40 miles per hour, and here near the North Miami Bay, we definitely do feel the strong winds. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
Today's other big story is the vote in the Senate that brings the U.S. one step closer to avoiding a government shutdown. For more on this, here's Caplin's Alexandra Howard, live outside the White House, where President Biden must sign a funding bill before the end of the day tomorrow.
This Friday night, there will be no government shutdown.
To a surprise on Tuesday, House lawmakers quickly passed the bill under bipartisan support, which included 127 Republicans and 209 Democrats.
The bill is passed.
And just last night, the Democratic Senate voted 87-11 in order to pass the bill to the White House. If signed by the president, the temporary spending bill will help fund parts of the government. One part will fund departments such as Agriculture, Veterans Affairs, and Housing and Urban Development until January 19th. And the Defense Department and others will be funded until February 2nd.
I am pleased that Speaker Johnson realized he needed Democratic votes to avoid a shutdown. If the Speaker is willing to work with Democrats and resist the siren song of the hard right in the House, then we can avoid shutdowns in the future and finish the work of funding the government.
That was Alexandra Howard reporting. The U.S. is hoping to better relations following the highly anticipated meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping. The leaders of the world's two largest economies were in San Francisco and discussed a variety of topics.
President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping coming together face-to-face for the first time in a year Wednesday. The high-stakes meeting taking place outside San Francisco on the sidelines of Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum.
I believe there are some of the most constructive and productive discussions we've had.
Biden and Xi met for roughly 4 hours discussing topics like pledging to restore military communication, taking steps to curb fentanyl production, and having direct lines of contact between leaders.
He and I agreed that each one of us could pick up the phone, call directly, and would be heard immediately.
Wednesday's meeting, though, comes amid rising tensions between the two nations. In the last year, there have been numerous incidents causing turmoil, like the U.S. shooting down a Chinese spy balloon that crossed over the U.S., though China denied it was spying, and concerns the Chinese government was using TikTok to spy on Americans. Xi acknowledging the country's rocky relationship.
China-U.S. relationship has never been smooth sailing over the past 50 years or more, and it always faces problems of one kind or another.
The war in Ukraine also fueling friction as China strengthens its relationships with instigator Russia, and the U.S. aligns with Ukraine. The ongoing turbulence in the Middle East also a topic of discussion.
The United States will continue to compete vigorously with the PRC, but will manage that competition responsibly.
Because a lot was at stake, the meeting was carefully coordinated. It was held at a historic estate in the Southern Bay Area. Everything from the flowers to the food being carefully thought out in hopes the meeting would bring reduced strain.
After months of high tension between the two countries, a lot was at stake heading into yesterday's meeting.
The fight for action on the Everglades, taking us from Florida all the way to Washington, D.C. Caplin News reporter Sofia Bolivar was there to see it all.
The restoration of the Everglades has been a topic of discussion here at FIU in D.C. From panels to attending the Department of the Interior for a task force meetings, FIU has been pushing for a brighter future of the Everglades.
Not destroying a natural environment in the name of restoration.
On Tuesday, a group of FIU students ranging in disciplines landed in Washington, D.C. to help advocate and learn more about the Everglades and the efforts being made to restore it. The event-filled day kicked off with a visit from Miccosukee Tribe Indians of Florida and ended with a panel on revolutionizing coastal resilience.
So day one of our experience at FIU in DC was all about connecting with the Everglades Foundation and a bunch of different stakeholders from all over South Florida and the federal government, the state government, the nonprofit space, and the academic space. So I felt like it was an amazing opportunity for me to showcase the work that I've been doing for my dissertation as a PhD student at FIU and really feel like my research could actually make an impact somewhere along the line of Everglades restoration.
Day two was just as busy. FIU students were able to visit the Department of the Interior, the House of Representatives to speak with legislative directors, and meet with many other informative individuals.
Today, we got to start off our day going to the Everglades Task Force meeting, which was super exciting. We heard from people from the Army Corps who were going over what they have been working on, and it was cool to see the whole program plan laid out and seeing that efforts are in motion.
As day three commences, the students are preparing for their final presentation on how they plan to communicate the issues of the Everglades.
So being a part of this experience has shown me the human side as far as how so many people care about the Everglades. It's shown me the scientific side, and I'm seeing the political side. I'm glad I got a well-rounded experience.
This three-day experience has brought a community of young advocates to share ideas, network with like-minded people, and push for the protection of Florida's sacred environmental treasure. There has been much advancement so far with all the advocacy FIU has been pushing for, but there is still much work to be done. For Caplin News, I'm Sofia Bolivar.
The technology of the future on display in the present. Caplin News reporter Shamir Tuesday was in Davie for yesterday's Innovation Day event.
A handful of people that I met here, I've seen again today, I've connected with on LinkedIn, they've referred business, vice versa.
This event covers across 3 tracks: emerging tech, entrepreneurship, and healthcare. It also included informational panels, engaging speakers, networking, and food and drink.
I have a podcast agency, and so every client that gets sent to me is a big deal. I need more clients, baby. I want to make more money. And just the more people that you know, the better.
I'm here at NSU for the annual South Florida Innovation Day, a one-of-a-kind experience where creators, innovators, entrepreneurs, and thoughtful leaders all come together in one space.
Conventions like these are so important to students because not only can you make that connection, you can learn about what's going on in your community. I think I had that conversation with my friend at the last event at the Innovation Center.
The South Florida Innovation Day is also a great way for students to get advice and find internships and even jobs by connecting with top entrepreneurs and tech companies.
We just mix, even with the attendees. Sometimes the jobs are something you probably never heard of, never experienced in school, or you might realize, hey, I kind of want to get more deep into this field. I know computer science, programming, developing. It's all here. It's all to display.
This is Shamir Tuesday for Caplin News.
A closer look at just how much money the mouse brings into the Sunshine State.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Be realistic. What amount are you comfortable spending on a meal or your portion of the meal that you're contributing to the family dinner? And then stay within it.
Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
How How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
Realistic, what amount are you comfortable spending on a meal or your portion of the meal that you're contributing to the family dinner, and then stay within it.
We all want that Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings, but it turns out side dishes could be right at the center of your budget concerns. This year's Thanksgiving will cost more than it did beforehand, which means saving some money is a crucial step that others will have to consider.
As Caplin News reporter Catherine Miranda reports, there are many ways you can save money during the feast.
We clutter it up with so much other stuff, and we spend money until we're blue in the face.
So what can you do to save?
It's the Super Bowl of food holidays, Thanksgiving, and although turkey prices have gone down, it's expected that side dishes are going to be more expensive this year compared to last year. That's according to Wells Fargo's new Thanksgiving report.
Jessica Allen has these 5 tips to trim the costs. The first step is to create a budget and shop early.
Be realistic. What amount are you comfortable spending on a meal or your portion of the meal that you're contributing to the family dinner, and then stay within it.
2. Trim the menu. Cut out the sides that are not huge hits at the dinner table. Choose wisely to avoid overspending on items that only get a few bites.
So can you go for meatless appetizers? Can you go for some beautiful, colorful vegetable or fruit side dishes that save you a little bit of money at the grocery store?
Number 3, go potluck. Experts recommend you ask guests to bring the desserts or sides. That way you can split the cost. Number 4, shop smart. Consider buying items in bulk and start looking for deals now.
When you start early enough, you've got time to piece together your meal from this place and this place and this place.
And finally, ditch the pre-made and pre-cut food. Consider buying those fruits and veggies and cutting them yourself. It's a bit more work, but it will help you avoid high price markups. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Catherine Miranda.
A new study showed that Disney has had more than a $40 billion increase for Florida during 2022. The study, which was paid for by Disney, highlighted the company's contribution to Florida jobs, businesses, and economy. It even brought up Disney's influence in creating over 260,000 jobs, which had helped generate the media giant around $6 billion alone in taxes.
And that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Parsake Sajadi.
I'm Jillian Salvi Cruz. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.